I can't tell you how excited and elated I am for this day today. We've been planning for weeks for this first day back for in-person instruction for about half of our elementary students who are choosing that option today. It's been a work in progress for many, many weeks. Actually, since the beginning of our school year this year, we were planning this hybrid in-person model. We had to put a pause on it at that time, but our board has been very supportive. And we've been working towards the reopening of hybrid in-person for this state. For our little ones, our little kindergartners and preschoolers, this is the first time they're going to be on campus today, meeting their teachers, meeting their principal, and becoming a Williamson Wildcat. So this is, it's like August 12th all over again, but even more excitement and build up to today.
Gosh, I didn't even think about that for the little ones. That's
yes.
An excellent point. Okay, so I have to ask, so when we found out the county was coming into purple tier, were there any kind of discussions back and forth about what you guys were going to do? Because we do know that the county says it is okay because your plans were kind of grandfathered in.
Correct.
But talk about the discussions if there weren't any.
Well, all along this planning process for many, many weeks, we've been working very closely with Sacramento County Public Health. And working very closely, we discussed all the contingency plans for health and safety. And what we do, how we pivot if the county goes, is either downgraded a tier or upgraded a tier. How does that change? And that's reflected in our Folsom-Cordova reopening roadmap. And it defines, what we put in place and how we move back and forth, because we're in this unprecedented time where we've had to reimagine how we're, delivering education. So, the county's move back into purple, and I know officially it's going to be on their website tomorrow, gave us some cause and concern because of the timing of it. However, we feel very confident in the plans that we've had in place now and building up to for this reopening in person today. Health and safety precautions are key, whether you're in the red tier or the purple tier. And we've had students on campus now since September. We started with our child care at almost all of our elementary sites. And we've had staff on campus, supervising those students all day long. So we've had this progressive opening with health and safety precautions in place. About a month ago, we brought our small cohorts of special education students on campus with their teachers and support staff. So we've had even more, probably another 1,100 students on campus in the last month. So here we are today on November 12th, welcoming back about half of our elementary students in person. The others have elected to stay in distance learning, which they have the choice to do.
And just like the students have a choice, teachers did too, right?
Teachers went through the process with our Human Resources Department, and we were able to accommodate those teachers that needed those accommodations. So those that wanted to be in person are in person. Those that asked for a distance learning assignment, we tried to keep them assigned to their school sites, and for the most part we did. In some cases they might be at other school sites, but they're in the mode that they selected.
Talk about, planning in the last few weeks for this date. For so many of us, this has seemed like a very long year, but March really was not that long ago for all of the ways you guys have had to adapt to figure out the last school year, to figure out, this school year and stuff. Just overall, what has this year been for the district trying to navigate through this?
It's been a humbling year, I'll tell you that. There's so much that we had no clue that we would be walking into in the year of 2020. And this is my 33rd year in education. And I've never experienced, nor have any of us ever experienced anything like this. And I'm very grateful for the partnership that we have with Sacramento County County Office of Education. The superintendents in Sac County have been meeting together since March and sharing, what we're doing in distance learning, how we're pivoting, how we're preparing for reopening our schools. And alongside that, we work very closely with Sacramento County Public Health. And if we didn't have those partnerships and collaboration, it would be really, really difficult to be doing this alone. No one person can be doing this alone at this point in time. We all really need to lean on each other. We need to give each other grace because, again, we're navigating territory that none of us have ever been in before. But, we have got a fantastic team in Folsom-Cordova. We have a supportive board, site administrators, principals that have been working for weeks with their team and their site safety teams to be planning for a safe and healthy reopening in person. And then, of course, all of our staff, our classified staff, our certificated staff, our managers, and then our parents and families have been also very patient with us. So it's been a team effort. It hasn't been easy, but, I think together we've been able to navigate, these little bumps in the road, and ultimately we keep at the forefront what is in the best interest of our children. Our children are meant to interact with, their peers and their teachers face to face, and that's been at the forefront. And with the science saying that the younger children are not, the carriers of the virus as much as older folks and folks that are getting together in community gatherings, then, it gives me a little bit more peace of mind to know that bringing our children back is the right thing to be doing at this point in time. And we're doing this, academically, but their social emotional well-being. Think about yourself as a child and those first interactions that you had, not only in the classroom, but, all the memories that you have from being in elementary school. So this is the way we want to be planning for our children, to get them back into some sense of normalcy, even though it's different. They're only here for half a day, and it's going to look very different, and they're all going to be wearing face coverings, and they have to follow the little dots on the ground, and we're getting there. We're getting there, but I think, as it's meant to be, but it's not been easy, and it's been weeks and weeks of planning to get us to this point.
That's right. You kind of just started talking about it. Finally, I just want to ask you, what's a typical day going to be like for these students when they roll up here? What are they going to, what are you going to expect? The sessions, all of that.
When our children arrive, and our principals and their team, their safety teams, have been working very closely with how they're going to navigate their campus to make sure that we are trying to keep our students at 6 feet, social distancing as they enter and as they exit school. So as they enter, as you see the blue dots on the ground, students are asked to pay attention to that spacing. So there'll be some new routines that our students have to learn, but all of our sites have looked at their entry and their exit places, and they've tried to space out and stagger by grade level, or grade levels for students to come in, so they're not all coming in and converging in one place as they typically have done in the past. So those entry points have been staggered, spread out. They're by grade level. The communication to parents has already taken place, so parents know where to drive and drop off their children. Instead of maybe all coming through this drop-off lane, they're going to different points. When the children get into their classroom, they'll have their hands sanitized. We have sanitizing stations in the classroom, as well as running water and soap that'll be replenished throughout the day. The desks in the classroom have been spaced out 6 feet, as well as the teacher's workstation. If we have a classroom with tables, like in our kindergarten classrooms, we have the plexiglass barriers between all the students, so they are 6 feet apart. Instruction of the teacher will probably be closer to the front of the room, so they're in their 6 foot bubble, but they've got their face coverings on as well. So if they need to be walking through the classroom, they can safely do that as well. Since we only have the children here half a day, either AM or PM, they will have a mid-morning or a mid-afternoon break outside, use the restroom, stretch, maybe do like a walking club or a jogging club on the blacktop, but our playground structures are off limits at this point in time, and it's not a typical full-blown recess as we might think of. And when they come back into the classroom, they do their hand sanitizing again. Each student will have their own supplies personalized for them in their packet, so they're not sharing supplies, they're not sharing Chromebooks. Everything has been individualized for every single student when they're in the classroom. There's no lunchtime in the cafeteria as we might be thinking about. We have grab and go pickup at the end of the AM session, grab and go pickup at the end of the PM session. So children will not be eating their meals on campus. Again, trying to mitigate any opportunity for students to cross over and and mingle with one another.
You guys have thought of everything, for sure. I think that's everything I wanted to touch on. Anything we're missing? Not a trick question, I always ask.
We're just thankful to our community for their partnership and their patience and their grace with us as we move through this next phase for progressively coming back and a safe and healthy return of students and staff on campuses today.